The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly from UFC 309. UFC 309 was this past weekend and featured a big title fight and some exciting finishes. Who won and who lost? Let's get to the rundown. UFC 309. Good, Mauricio Ruffy versus James Lyon Top. Tentative, start to this catchweight contest. Both fighters begin throwing jabs and low kicks before loading up on some hard punches. Stiff leg kicks also find their mark before the first round ends. The second round begins with kicks flying at each other and a few jabs as well. Ruffy drops Lyon Top with a power left hand, but he gets back up and tries for a takedown, but can't get it. Ruffy connects with a huge right hand that Lyon Top absorbs somehow. Ruffy connects with a few more powerful punches that stun Lyon Top, but the second round ends. The third round starts with both men fighting in close as exhaustion sets in. Lyon Top nails some knees to the body and some kicks before Ruffy fights back. They both absorb some stiff strikes before the fight ends. We go to the judges to render their verdict. Ruffy wins the decision to improve to 11-1 and has won 6 straight fights, while Lyon Top drops to 14-5 and has lost 3 straight fights. Good win for Ruffy. Good. Viviane Araujo versus Karine Silva. Silva starts off with low kicks to start. Araujo responds with punches. Both women are mixing up their strikes now, and Araujo lands some stiff strikes, but gets warned for outstretched fingers, and the first round ends. The second round begins with a lot of striking as they're blasting each other until Silva gets a takedown. They grapple for the rest of the second round, trading submission attempts. The third round starts with Araujo reversing a takedown attempt from Silva into one of her own before they get back to their feet and trade strikes. Araujo gets another takedown as they tire and follows that with another takedown later, though Silva is also flopping onto her back as she tries to get the fight to the mat, but the fight ends. We go to the judges to render their verdict. Araujo wins the decision to improve to 13-6, while Silva drops to 18-5 and has her 9-fight winning streak snapped. Good win for Araujo. Good or bad, Bo Nicol versus Paul Craig. Both fighters start off firing a few strikes at a time, with neither man getting a true advantage before the first round ends. The second round begins with more of the same, as Nicol starts to pull away a bit with his striking, but it's still close. The third round starts and ends with still more of the same, and this fight has never left first gear. Neither fighter seemed to get going, but the crowd only gets on Nicol. We go to the judges to render their verdict. Nicol wins the decision to improve to an undefeated 7-0, while Craig drops to 17-9-1 and has lost 3 straight fights. Good win for Nicol. Good. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. This is a 5-round fight for some unknown reason. They trade a few strikes and Oliveira gets a takedown eventually after working for it. Not much happening. What a surprise. The second round begins with the fighters exchanging strikes. Oliveira knocks Chandler to a knee, and Chandler tries to rush away as Oliveira pursues him. He catches Chandler and staggers him with strikes before taking him down. Oliveira works his ground and pound and drops elbows that cut Chandler a bit before the second round ends. The third round starts with both fighters exchanging a lot of strikes. Oliveira gets a takedown and lands more elbows. Oliveira grabs a face crank but can't get the tap, and the third round ends. The fourth round opens with more striking exchanges. Oliveira feels Chandler's power and doesn't like it, so he goes for a takedown and gets it. They reach an impasse as Chandler fights off any Oliveira attempts for a submission until Oliveira grabs a rear naked choke. Chandler fights it off and keeps it from being locked in tightly, and the fourth round ends. The fifth round begins with more striking exchanges. Oliveira is hurt and gets dropped, and Chandler follows him down with a long series of strikes to the back of the head. For some reason, the referee doesn't care about this and lets it go on until Oliveira works his way to his feet somehow. They separate, and Chandler slips on a punch and Oliveira follows him to the mat. Oliveira takes his back and grabs a rear naked choke on top of the chin, but Chandler stands up somehow and throws himself to the mat to try to squash Oliveira. He hangs on, so Chandler stands up and does it again, like that goofy meme. It still doesn't work though, and the fight ends. We go to the judges to render their verdict. Wild last round there. Oliveira wins the decision to improve to 35-10 with 1 no contest, while Chandler drops to 23-9. Good win for Oliveira. Good. John Jones stopped Stipe Miocic. Jones successfully defended his UFC heavyweight championship for the first time here. They start off trading strikes before Jones gets a trip takedown. Jones blasts Miocic with repeated elbows. Miocic is moving to keep the fight going, but Jones keeps landing big elbows on him. Somehow, Miocic survives, and the first round ends. The second round begins with repeated striking exchanges. Jones is landing more as expected, but Miocic is absorbing them, and the second round ends. The third round starts with Miocic connecting with a strong uppercut, but Jones fights back with strikes of his own. Jones nails Miocic in the ribs with a spinning back kick that collapses Miocic, and Jones finishes him off with a few punches to get the finish 4.5 minutes into the third round. Jones improves to 28-1 with one no contest, while Miocic drops to 25. Good win for Jones, who said he's not retiring and has plenty of options on who to fight next. No word on how long we'll have to wait to see who those options are. Good. Stipe Miocic retires. After the fight, Miocic announced his retirement. He's had a great career and is the greatest heavyweight in UFC history. He won the UFC heavyweight championship twice by defeating Daniel Cormier and Fabricio Werdum, and had 4 successful title defenses, one each against Daniel Cormier, Francis Ngannou, Junior Dos Santos, and Alistair Overeem. Miocic also holds victories over Andrei Arlovski, Mark Hunt, and Roy Nelson. He's had a hell of a career, and I wish him well in his retirement.